Francis and I went to school together at UCLA. I have known him for 50 years. I think that when you know a person very well and you were trained by the same people in the same school, you have an extra understanding. The Outsiders was a picture that Francis decided to do because he wanted to do a simpler, quicker movie. He had just finished One from the Heart, and it had gone a very, very long time. And he wanted to do a picture that was, more compact. And we actually did two pictures back to back, Rumblefish and Outsiders. And the prep for Rumblefish was about 2 or 3 weeks. They both kind of overlapped. And Francis always likes to do pictures about family relationships. It's one of the things that really interests him. Rumblefish and The Outsiders are different pictures in tone, but the basic idea of family relationships is there.
Look, and if you had to go by yourself, you should have carried a blade.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a great excuse for the associate to cut his neck a little more there.
Hey, if I want my kid brother to tell me what to do with my other kid brother, I'll ask you, all right? Kid brother.
Francis is a very good talker, and he's a very good purveyor of information. Let me give you an example how we would do a scene in Outsiders when we were shooting. Francis would show me the scene, and he would say to me, he says, what do you want to do? And I would say, well, Francis, I think we should do this, or this. And if he liked it, he would say to me, well, where do you want to start? If he didn't like it, what he would do is that he would tell you an allegorical story because he wanted you to come up with the answer. He didn't want to impose his answer, but he gave you enough clues of the story that you would come up with something that was better. So you'd say, well, in that case, we should do this and this and this and this. And he'd go, I think that's better. And I would say, fine. And then he'd say, well, where do you want to start? So that was kind of our relationship working. He has a very high art skill, a very high craft skill, and we had a really good shorthand. So it went very, very well.
Just last night we was laying up in the lot looking at the stars.
Oh, stop it, man. We shut up about last night.
Johnny.
I killed the kid last night. He couldn't have been more than 17, maybe 18 years old, and I killed him. How'd you like to live with that, huh? I didn't mean to. They was drowning you, and I didn't know what to do.
Oh, they were really good actors. They were all really good actors. I mean, and Fred Roos, like a genius in casting, to have figured out, who was going to be best for it. I mean, he really has a wonderful, magical sense for that kind of thing. I thought that Ralph and Diane were our two best actors because they were the most experienced. But everybody else was good too. I mean, they all had great personalities, and that's the most important thing about movie actors, is that they have to have that personality.
Hey, tell me, pony boy, what's it like being a hero, huh? Or what? A hero, man, like a big shot even. Beer for breakfast there, 2-bit?
What I like is the turn hero bit there. Charging Johnny with manslaughter? Well, I mean, if he recovers.
Also says how you saved them kids, pony boy. Had they burned, death hadn't been for you.
The biggest challenge in doing Outsiders was to do it quickly and efficiently, and as well, as we possibly could do it. And Francis, his part of it, the way he did it, was that they had a lot of rehearsals. They really had it honed in, and he actually went to, when we were in Tulsa, actually took the cast of the locations and actually played out all of the scenes. So, I mean, there was a massive amount of preparation so we could do it as quickly as we could. And I would rig all of these sets and leave them lit, or I should say leave the lights in there, so we didn't have to keep putting things in and out, so we could just move from one set to another in just a matter of adjusting the lighting instead of having to go in and rig and then pull everything out and come back and all that kind of stuff. So the big deal was efficiency. And the worst thing that you can do is sit around and wait for something because the actors get tired, they're all keyed up. You want to bring them onto the set. You want them to get in, do a really good rehearsal, and then just go ahead and start shooting. Most of the time, actors are best on their first take. Interesting thing about The Outsiders was that we did very, very few takes. And on dailies, we only printed one take. So that again was so the editor, knew what the choices were and could start cutting immediately. Again, the efficiency. There's some actors who are very fast, who are really right there on the first take and can reproduce it and very good. And there are some people who take a long, long time to get kind of warmed up and get to a good position. So one of the tricks that you have to do is you have to learn who is the fast actor, who is the slow actor. So what you want to do is you want to shoot, let's say you're going to shoot a 2-shot and 2 close-ups. You're going to shoot the 2-shot, and then you're going to shoot the fast actor first, and then you're going to give the slow actor time to do 5 or 6 takes. Because usually the people who are the fast actors have so much energy in their performance, they're exhausted by the 3rd or 4th take.
Are you a real redhead?
Uh-huh.
Come on now.
Are you real?
One really nice technique that Francis came up with was that in his big office, he had, it was at a schoolroom, we had these great big long blackboards. And what he did was that he would have reel 1, and then he would have the scene number, what the scene was, and they were all lined up. And so each reel would have the scenes that were in that particular reel. And when those scenes were completed, he'd take it and he would turn it over. So if you walked by his office, you could tell exactly where we were in the situation. Now, if he thought a scene was really important, he would take that scene and he would raise it up higher. If he thought a scene wasn't that important, he'd put it down lower. So immediately, if you just walk by in the morning, you'd see if anything changed. But it was a very good way to communicate with everybody about the importance of the scenes and what we completed and where we were.
Peanut butter.
Gone with the Wind. Johnny, how'd you know I always wanted Gone with the Wind?
Remember you saying something about it once? Me and you went to see that movie, remember? Thought maybe you could read it out loud, help kill time or something.
Thanks a lot, Johnny.
The first version of The Outsiders was supposed to be very romantic, very Gone with the Wind-like, which means it was, a lot warmer. When I went in to do the complete story, I realized that it was a much more realistic version of the story. And the important thing was the relationship of the family, of the boys to each other. So I kind of felt that it should be a little cooler. So I changed the timing on that to be a little bit cooler, except for the big romantic scenes like the big sunset and all that kind of stuff. The difference between a picture that was centered around the Pony Boy character, who's like a young artist who is awakening and trying to share his feelings with other people, and then writing it down, in a book that becomes the movie, as opposed to a story about a family and how they interact with each other. That made me feel that it should be a more less theatrical, more neutral version.
I'm gonna miss you guys. I've been thinking about it in that poem.
that guy that wrote it, he meant you're gold when you're a kid, like green. When you're a kid, everything's new. Dawn. Like the way you dig sunsets, Pony, that's gold. Keep it that way. It's a good way to be.
Well, of course, you're always proud to work on a good picture that people love. That's really a great satisfaction. You know, you always try and do the best you could do. You know, and The Outsiders was one of those pictures that clicked with the audiences. You know, because that's really your reward. You know, as a cinematographer, is to go to the theater, look at your movie, and listen to the audience reaction. I mean, it's like being in a theater audience kind of situation. Years ago, when West Side Story was playing over here at Grauman's, I took my college girlfriend there, and at the end of the picture, when Dick Beamer is killed, you couldn't hear the dialogue because the sobbing was so loud in the audience. And that to me is that's really fun. You know, if you work on a picture where people are laughing or crying or something else like that, in the audience, you are proud to be part of something that's emotionally resonant for people.